that if I go down to Mardell's and look on the Christian leadership bookshelf and pull a book off the shelf, and I start to read about all the expectations that I'm supposed to meet as a leader, that brings a lot of pressure. Actually, those are not the things mostly that Jesus cares about. Jesus doesn't really care about if you're the most dynamic speaker. I would say there's a Greek word for that. Jesus doesn't give a flip. He doesn't care. Not that preaching good sermons is a bad thing. I believe in preaching good sermons, I promise you. But when you stand before Jesus, he's not going to be caring about whether you preach the most dynamic sermons. Jesus is not going to care about whether your ministry doubled in size. He's not going to care about your offering. Did you beat budget last year? Jesus doesn't care about that. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. He also owns the hills. He's not in heaven worried about whether you're going to meet budget. Doesn't really care, I don't think, about our strategic planning, our vision statements, our websites, our YouTube live stream. I don't think Jesus cares. But Jesus really does care about our character. And so it's encouraging to me because there's a lot of things I frankly don't need to worry about. At Mobberly, there's lots of things I just don't care about. I don't worry. I don't care about the attendance on Sunday morning. It's going to do what it's going to do. There will be Sundays that are up, Sundays that are down. It doesn't really matter. Who cares? I don't really care if you like my sermon. I want you to like my sermon. But if you don't, I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. So I'm relieved of a lot of the sort of false pressures. I don't feel a lot of those pressures. If you're not a great leader, not a great preacher, not a great administrator, you can still be a great pastor if you have the character of Jesus. And to me, that's a very relieving thought. But at the same time, that's a very challenging thought because that's a lot more difficult to do that than all the other things. But God gives us his grace for that. And we're not left to have to do that on our own. So it's not like, hey, here's my expectation. Here's the moral standard that you have to meet. Jesus gives us his grace. He lives his life through us. And so a life of character is a life of just growing dependence on Jesus. Jesus, you build that character in me. I don't have the resources, right? It's spiritually bankrupt. I don't have this. I don't have what it takes, but Jesus, you do. So I'm just going to keep coming to you, hungry and thirsty for you to do what only you can do in my life. This is the way Jesus says it at the end of the Sermon on the Mount, that if you'll keep asking and keep knocking and keep searching, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. That's how you know Jesus is a Baptist preacher. He ends with the invitation, right? The invitation at the end of the sermon. Ask, I'll give. Seek, you'll find. Knock, the door will be open. You need my character? Come to me and I'll give it to you. That's the promise. That's grace, isn't it?